everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talking Heartland. And this is the show where we talk all things Heartland. And today we are recapping episodes 2 and 3 of season 17. And there's some pretty fun episodes, some fun stuff going on. And film critic Rachel Wagner, and Michelle's here.
Hey everyone.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm excited to delve into these ones.
Yeah. I have a couple of frustrating parts, but for the most part, enjoyed them, especially anything to do with the Remy was extremely well done and very sweet.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the sadder episodes.
Yeah.
I think they handled the balance of it really well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we know that Amber's dog, who was Remy, had passed away, and I forget the name of her dog, but had passed away, and so necessitated the story. But I just thought there were some real nice moments of clarity and connection and remembering, and it just was very, very sweet. I'm sure as a dog owner, it was especially so for you.
Yeah, yeah. I think the dog is actually called Remy.
Oh, is it? Is that in real
Yeah,
life? Okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah. Well, let's dive in. Let's talk about these episodes. So, episode 2 is called Taking the Reins. Amy and Jack retrain Edwin's horse, which brings Amy and Edwin closer. Logan takes on his first client horse. Election night arrives for Lou just as the family faces a difficult loss. So, overall, what did you think of this episode?
Like I said, I thought they handled the Remy aspect of it really well, and really definitely hits home for me, and I'm sure a lot of people. But
Yeah.
I do like the way that they handled the Lou thing as well. I do think we needed to move on from that.
Yeah.
Um, and I will say, I'm not 100% clicking with a lot of the Logan stuff. It feels
Mm,
like feels a little disconnected from
hmm
everything else. Um, so yeah, I think overall a good episode. There's just a couple of things that just weren't clicking for me.
Yeah, I liked the episode, and I thought the Edwin and Amy stuff was pretty fun. Like the funny with her being like so bad at reading people, and she's so good at horses. Like that was fun. And her bringing, like, I love when Jack shows up at the
So
breakfast. That was really funny. So all of that works for the
yeah,
most
definitely.
part.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, I agree with you about Lou. I definitely think that her being mayor was just not that interesting.
Mhm.
And we actually got one of our favorite commenters for the Heartland episodes commented on our premiere recap
Mhm.
and said some very exciting things. I'll just read it. It's a long comment, but it's really good. She says, in my opinion, season 17 did something for her character about Lou that I never thought possible. It made me both identify with her and empathize with her. She's always been the one I felt least connected to for a variety of reasons, but that's changed in a big way. I won't spoil anything, but I have a sense she'll see what I mean as the season progresses. And so that's very interesting. I'm intrigued.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
the
I do.
problem that they have with Lou is that they just keep giving her the same plot over and over and over again.
It always feels like she has to have a million things happening. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that sort of fits the energy that Michelle Morgan brings to the character of this sort of high energy, always got a dozen plates spinning at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, I don't think the mayor storyline really did what I hoped it would.
Right.
I think there was that sort of really well handled. I think it was a flood, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that was a good episode.
I'm
Or
not sure
and
if it
then
was a
they had that train crash thing.
yep, yep. They had a few things that
Yeah.
I think worked really well. I just don't think unless that's sort of the focal point of the episode where it's constant crises.
Uh-huh.
Um, the rest of the time it's not very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I
Well,
mean, I
it's
will
like,
say one of the best things that happened is it gave us Rick. So I'm not,
mm,
you know, mad that it happened. And we did
right.
have let's say those episodes that I really liked. So I
Hmm.
don't think it was a failure. I just don't. I just think that they have moved on at the right time.
Yeah, and it's very exciting to hear that there's something that's, that's really that she's so excited about, that our commenter is so excited about. That's really cool because especially with the whole Peter scenario. I mean, that was just not interesting. So I hope that we see her. It would be just like we said this in our last episode, but it would be really nice if she had some kind of connection with a horse.
Hmm.
I feel like that's what's a big thing that's missing because it's such a way that we connect with the characters on the show. So if she
Yeah,
had some kind of arc with an animal, I think that would help her a lot, actually, her character.
yeah, and it's interesting. You sort of so you have Amy and Jack and Tim who sort of have the more of the horse aspect of it, but then you
Yeah.
have Katie and Lou on the outskirts not having that. And when
Uh-huh.
it's sort of the focal point of the entire show,
Yeah.
um, it's a little bit difficult because we
Mm-hmm.
sort of want that from all of the characters.
Yeah.
But then I can understand from like a writing perspective that that might not be interesting to have that be the case for everyone.
Yeah.
And then you also have Logan in there as well. And like I said, I just feel like that's very disconnected to,
Mm-hmm. Well, it's so
especially in
weird
this
with
episode.
Logan because they're making it seem like to me that there could be potential between him and Katie. But then he has this especially in the next episode where he's telling Miley that he loves her and everything. Like I
Yeah,
thought that it's kind of weird.
yeah. I think they've established that the age gap, whatever it may be, is just
Uh-huh.
not something that they're gonna um. It's just not something that they're prepared to sort of go ahead with. I think
Mm,
establishing that and they've just sort of moved on from it and sort of
mm,
treated it as like it was a one-sided sort of schoolgirl crush. Um,
mm-hmm,
but yeah, it feels like once they established that there was an age gap, they've sort of moved on from it.
mm-hmm.
I feel like that is one thing that is really missing because a really we had all of these sort of teen romance aspects of the show for like over a decade with Ty and Amy and then Georgie. So it does feel
Yeah.
like that aspect of it is missing a little bit.
It would be nice if they gave somebody for Katie
Hmm.
like a
Well,
cute
hopefully one of
little
these,
crush.
yeah, hopefully one of these motorcycle boys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the dirt bike. Yeah, that's true. They were definitely hinting at that for sure.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
So it starts out with Edwin asking for help for his horse Brady. And he's like missing all the jumps. He's not doing it. And she thinks that he should transition out of jumping.
Hmm.
And which is, interesting. And she thinks that this idea of him doing carriage racing might be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she says, there's like, we take on this together. And he's real excited, and he's like, we come for breakfast.
Mm.
And he's like, got it all set up, and Jack is there. Look at these great muffins.
I will say, for like in defense of Amy, like I
Like,
probably
guess I was surprised. I mean, we're going into the next episode, but I was a little bit disappointed because I like Edwin. I was a little disappointed that he's not more of a, that they're dispensing of him so quickly. There was potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like they sort of used them as like a tool to sort of let us know as an audience that Amy was ready to start dating.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, just not him.
Right.
And I will say, I think the show does a good job, and Amber does a good job of having it be very one-sided. So it does feel like it's all sort of on him, like it's all coming from him, and she's just like, I think she does a really good job of like just going along for the ride and expressing that she's like ready for that, if just not with him. Like, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know, and I like the actor so much. I think he's really good.
And I really like him, but I don't know if it's just the fact that they knew that this is where it was going, because the chemistry wasn't quite there for me. So I don't know if it was sort of intentional. But I definitely think that, I don't know, maybe it was just the fact that it would have been very easy for her because, like their daughters are best friends, and like it would have been a very easy choice for her. But I do like the fact that is sort of recognized that she would be doing it for the wrong reasons. Like, for her, it's just not there.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it was all leading up to this Nathan guy, and I mean, I'm excited about that because I love Spencer Lord. He's Team Mixed Baggage, which was a movie I loved last year, and he's so good in that. And I'm so excited to see him on this season. Yeah. If y'all haven't seen Mixed Baggage, it's really good. You should watch it. But anyway, it was a funny scene between Edwin and Amy and Jack eating all the muffins. It's good. So I hope everybody got to hear our interview with Chris Potter. I'll put a link in the description. You definitely should. I thought he was so cool.
Yeah.
He was just so nice and like such a good guy, and he's been married for 40 years, and just everything that you could want like in a human. I just thought he was great, and his answers were, I thought, really good, and so that interview went very well in my opinion.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that interview, and I thought it was really interesting when he was talking about the decision to sort of not do both.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That was really, really surprising. So yeah, if you want to find out what is to the Good Witch and Heartland and deciding which way to go, yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah, but he's getting real into this campaign with Lou. You need to mudsling, you need or at least a mud flick. So that was funny. And he tells Lou, he says, you don't want to admit that you want this. And it's how you write it out that matters. And I think that that was all pretty good. I mean, Tim, for this brand of Tim, like being real competitive and stuff, like this was a pretty good version of it.
Yeah, it was the right sort of pitch. Like sometimes it can go way too far and way too aggressive. But it feels like the majority of what he was doing, he thought was for the best. For Lou. But yeah, it could have came on a lot more intense and turned off a lot more people. But I think, yeah, he managed it. He managed to not make me hate him this episode.
Yeah, I asked Chris about, I said that Tim's been through some rough patches. Did you ever worry about being unlikable? And I thought his answer was really good and interesting to that. about the whole growth of a person, and that he never really worries about that. And you can kind of tell, like, he has a real respect, I think, for this character, and that's what makes it work, even in the sort of unlikable phases.
Yeah, I should say, like, I don't hate the character or these decisions, but he's endlessly frustrating at times.
Yeah, I mean, especially the Janice seasons.
Yeah.
That was really rough. Horse that Logan is working with is afraid of the sound the flag makes, and it's just bucks Logan off, and it's just not working. And so I think she gave him a pretty hard horse for his first one solo.
Yeah.
Seems like to me.
Like a really beautiful horse as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he sort of went all in right away.
Yeah.
A little bit too much too quickly there.
Well, and that was also interesting to talk to Chris about his relationship with his horse, with Champ, and that I guess the original horse lasted 15 seasons. Tonka, his horse, and then he got a new horse. And I don't know, there's just so many dynamics to the show that make it tricky and interesting.
And the fact that the show's just been going for so long at this point.
Yeah. Going through horses.
Yeah.
So Edwin asks Amy to dinner, but she's kind of distracted, and she thinks it's like a play date dinner. So she brings Lindy.
Yeah.
Which was really funny.
Yeah. Like I can give her a pass on the first one, but the second one, like, very oblivious.
And he's like, I've totally been putting out vibes. But if you think about it, like, Amy has never really dated.
Never, yeah. That's yeah.
It's because Ty was just living in her house. She's never had to like flirt or, and the only other relationship she had was like briefly with what's his name, the cowboy guy.
Caleb. Well,
not Caleb. Well, a little bit with Caleb, but no, the other guy that she ended up kissing. Oh, I guess there was the prince too.
Prince as well, yeah.
I can't think of that guy's name. He was like the showman.
Oh yeah. Oh my, yeah. He's been in a bunch of Hallmark movies.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but anyway, there's a lot of characters on this show. You can't remember all of them.
Yeah, we're pushing 20 seasons here.
Don't get mad at me in the comments. But anyway, yeah, she's never really had to like flirt and date and like that in that kind of way.
Yeah, so. She sort of skipped all of that.
Yeah. But she's like, oh, okay. And then we have that she's like, oh, you meant just the two of us? And Edwin's like, I don't think I'm crazy for us to go on a date. But so she's like, oh, okay. So, and he had stopped jumping with Brady once when he got a concussion, and that's what kind of threw him. And then we have this whole like the day of the election. It's kind of the second part, and Remy has been missing. We start out that she hasn't been eating. We see that, like, and Lindy says, let's make her chicken, and with Jack, which is cute. And they're all kind of looking for her. And so then we also get some time between Katie and Logan about the horse and like his frustrations. And I don't know, like, yeah, I guess they have that age difference, but I feel like there have been still some hints, of like a friends to lovers arc. Mm-hmm. But yeah, then this whole Miley thing kind of threw me a little bit. But he's quite a bit older than her.
And I think the fact that they aged up the character as well makes it a little bit more confusing as well.
Uh-huh.
like it took me a while to get my head around the fact that she was like in high school.
Right. Yeah. And then we have some flirting between Edwin and Amy. He takes off his shirt at one point. That was kind of fun. That was good. And then they have this like little water fight, which was cute.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. And Lou says, being mayor of Hudson has been a dream come true. And then we get to the election night, and Rick wins by 12 votes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every vote counts in the local election. And Tim says, never let go. And then Amy calls, and she's just found Remy, and he's gone. She's gone. And she tells that to Lou, and it just puts everything in perspective, which was, kind of a lovely thought. She says, we have a tougher loss to deal with than an election.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but she introduces Rick, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. That was a nice moment for Lou, putting everything in perspective.
Yeah, I do wish that, Remy was sort of like Georgie's dog. So, yeah, I wish that Georgie was in the episodes, because she's the one that brought Remy to Heartland. So
I forgot about that.
Would have been nice for her to have like a scene, but unfortunately we don't get a lot of Georgie these days.
Yeah, I forgot about that she brought Remy. Yeah, that's a good point. And so they have this kind of little vigil thing where they're all talking, and Lindy, oh my gosh, this is that Remy is with Daddy now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That'll get you.
Yeah.
And Tim says, I'm most proud of this family. Oh. And Lou says, as soon as I heard about Remy, the election seemed meaningless. And then Jack, I was always grateful for Remy's youthful spirit. And which is just sweet. It's so sweet. And I mean, that's like the kind of sacrifice you make by being a pet owner is, they will leave you. I mean, unless something unexpected happens before you leave them. So
yeah,
you're kind of signing up for a certain degree of heartache.
Yeah, definitely. One of my friends just recently lost her dog, and she went through a really difficult time, and now she's got a puppy and going through it all over again. And it's definitely I can't say, and I did the exact same thing. I think I lasted I think when you're used to having an animal in the house, it's just weird not having one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, you definitely sign up for. I was a lot more aware of it the second time I had to do it. Of you sign up for heartbreak.
Yeah, you really do. And so you have to kind of be ready for that. But obviously, it's well worth it, the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because you love them. And in Jack, he says, I was always great. Well, we already said that. So when Amy says, she always brought me such comfort, which was very sweet, especially if that was actually her dog, Amber's dog.
Introducing the exciting new debut novel from Savannah Carlyle, The Library of Second Chances. Daily walks along the sparkling shoreline and chats with her best friend are a part of the slow-paced life for bookstore owner Lucy Sullivan. But when she hears Logan Lancaster has been brought in to solve the town's budget deficit, Lucy isn't all that excited about his vision. They couldn't be more opposite, except for one small thing. Unbeknownst to both of them, they've been swapping anonymous notes in their little free library. Could they fall in love with each other's words while fighting in real life? Don't miss this delightful read, perfect for all your summer reading fun. Pick up The Library of Second Chances by Savannah Carlyle wherever you purchase your books or use the affiliate link below. Find out more about Savannah at harpethroad.com. That's harpethroad.com.
Very sweet. And then Jack says there's a collection of people and animals you surround yourself with that sees you through all the times, both good and bad. So that's Heartland for you in a sentence. It really is. It's such a comforting show.
Mm.
Just to be part of these people in their lives and the animals.
Yeah, for me, there's really nothing else like it on TV for me. Like, there's really nothing that's.
I mean, All Creatures Great and Small is close in some ways, but
it feels a little more hard hitting in ways. This one, it is just pure comfort for me.
Yeah, well, especially this last season with the war and everything. Yeah, but then they have this meeting with Price Beef, and so they're moving forward with that. And then Amy says to Edwin, please, just to clarify, I'm not supposed to bring a child if you ask me out again. I'm not good at reading people. And Katie is trying to be a writer. So that's kind of going. She's entering a contest and everything. And then, of course, we end with Buddy, one of their horses, and Brady doing the carriage riding. So that's fun. So yeah, this one I think was pretty strong. It had some funny parts, had some sweet parts, it's emotional parts. I would give this one like an 8.5 or 9.
Yeah, I'll go with 8.
Yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarkie in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
And the next episode is called The Heart Wants. Amy helps Caleb with his son's pony. Lou and Jessica start a new venture while Katie tries a new risky hobby. Disaster strikes when Logan takes a big step with Miley. And this one is directed by Chris Potter, so thinking of what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of excited that they sort of decided to give Katie something else apart from the writing. So
yeah,
and a little bit worried about the Lou and Jessica team up because they already sort of had a disagreement. So I'm hoping that that's not something that's repetitive.
Yeah.
That'll be frustrating. But I do think it was interesting. Like, Amy has like 3 love interests in this episode.
I know, and because I did like Edwin, so I was a little bit bummed that that was just not, it was fizzled. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious what they're going to do with this Caleb thing because they were definitely hinting at it pretty strong.
Yeah, I'm like so mixed on it as well.
Yeah,
like on one hand, it's like, who else would understand Amy's loss more than Caleb?
Yeah,
like he loves Ty as well. So, like, in one hand, I can completely understand it. On the other hand, I think male and female friendships on TV is so underrepresented.
Yeah.
So, like, I've sort of gone against myself a little bit because I think that was something that I really wanted to see on TV, like, a few years back. And I think there was quite a few shows that ended up sort of delivering on that, but every single time there was always this thing of, like, is it going to be romance? Is it not? Like, there was always that sort of question mark. There was very few that was never like, it was pure friendship.
Yeah, it's true. It's
and
really
even
true.
though even though Amy and Caleb did have that sort of brief romance when, Amy was a teenager, but that was very, very brief, and
Did they
you were never.
kiss?
I think there was maybe one kiss.
I can't remember.
But yeah, that was very brief, and you never doubted for a second that, Amy and Ty were endgame. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm very torn on it. Um,
me too. Me
Sort
too.
of feels a little bit like when Downton Abbey lost Matthew and they just kept throwing all these love interests at Mary and seeing what the
Mm-hmm.
audience
Right.
responded to. It feels a little bit like that. It's
Yeah.
such a hard position for the show to be in.
Yeah. Well, and I do feel torn because again, I love Spencer Lord. I think he is so good. So
Mm.
I'm so excited to have him on this show. But I do think that Caleb and Amy would be like, I do love a friends to lovers, so it could be really good. But I agree with
Yeah.
you as well that platonic friendship is also way underrepresented. It would be really nice to see. I don't know. So I'm all over the place too with this.
Yeah. I've got a
Yeah.
feeling that we're going to go with Nathan for a while,
Uh-huh.
but I would not be surprised if um Amy and Caleb are endgame. It would, like, I'm
Yeah.
just going to put it out there. Like, I
Yeah.
think that would not surprise me if that was to happen. But
Yeah.
then again, Endgame could be season 30. Like,
I could definitely see that for sure. I mean, that's if I had to place a bet of who do I think she's going to end up being with, I would say Caleb. I think is going to be it, but
and I feel like
you never know.
I feel like that would be, the fans would be more receptive to that as a whole.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on what they do with Nathan.
Mhm.
Because that might be a little bit more of an enemies to the lovers thing. Not
Mhm.
necessarily with Amy, but with the family as a whole.
Yeah.
With the whole price thing. But yeah, hopefully it'll
So
be
good.
interesting.
Caleb has come with Carson,
Mhm.
and they have a pony named Donut that he bought for Carson that is not training well.
Mhm.
And so he's supposed to have a cowboy birthday party for Carson, but he's not a pony for kids. And he's like, I don't want to let down my kid again. And I mean, that was all very endearing. And he
Mhm.
says, he's struggling to be a single dad. And then Amy says that we're all just trying our best, but sometimes that still leaves a broken bike because Lindy's bike is broken.
Yeah.
And then Caleb does say, Amy is my best friend,
Yeah.
which again, that was like big time. Like, I mean, I don't know if I felt that Amy was Caleb's best friend.
Mhm.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. When you look at like who's in our life, then as an adult, I would say yeah, Caleb. Like
Yeah,
outside of a
because she doesn't
family,
really have any friends.
there's Logan, but she's more a mentor than a friend.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, most of her friends, like she had what's her name in the early seasons? I can't think of her name. That was her, best friend in high school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
For like a season, yeah.
No, she was in like a bunch, but and then she ended up like going to Europe or something.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name. Um, anyway, and then there's Ashley, which was kind of off and on again. They were quote unquote
Yeah, that was
friends.
yeah, that was rough.
She had like the girl. She had like a weird name, like, or an unusual name.
Hmm.
Anyway, but so then you have Katie riding Shadow, and this guy on the dirt bike is spooking Shadow, is causing problems. and he's like, calm down. And she's like, you should try apologizing instead of telling people to calm down. So, yeah. It reminds me of in Father of the Bride. It's one of my favorite parts when he's flipping out over the hot dogs. And he's like, there's the manager. Why don't we calm down, sir? I'll tell you why we don't calm down. Because you're not excited. It takes two for a we to calm down, now doesn't it? That I don't know, sir. But yeah. I mean, this guy looked pretty cute. I'm fine with this.
Yeah. The girl wasn't as nice, but yeah, it definitely from that little moment, it feels like there's going to be something there. And I'm excited. It's about time to give Katie something else. Again, I'm disappointed that it's not like more of a horse themed storyline, but yeah.
Yeah. The girl's name was Soraya.
Yeah, I was looking at it myself like Soraya. And funnily enough, Soraya was not the one that I was thinking of. Because I was thinking of someone that was there for like a season, which Soraya wasn't. Soraya was there for quite a bit.
For a bit, yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's had people that were friends that like the what do they call it? Boy, this is my day for not remembering anything. But
yeah, we don't remember
the trick rider who comes, who's
she was like a returning
friendly with. Yeah, like she has had people like that, but yeah, she hasn't had like a friend for quite a while.
Yeah.
So we have Jess has a big surprise for Tim that she wants to open her own gallery, and it's this supposed historic space in the town. It needs some work, but she's excited.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good storyline for Jess.
Yeah, I think so.
And most small towns have things like that.
And I was happy to see her because I was kind of worried, are we not going to see her much this season? So I was happy to see her. And in this kind of dynamic with Lou, because he's like, well, I happen to know a person who's real good at handling Hudson bureaucracy. And then because it was pretty funny seeing Lou like be all of a sudden this like champion yoga person with like the green drink and the
it feels like that's not the first time she's tried to sort of have that lifestyle of like cool and relaxed and easygoing, and it's just not her. She needs like a million projects.
Yeah, she definitely is not somebody who could be a lady of leisure.
Definitely not.
No, like me on the other hand, I would have no problem.
If
anybody's interested, I am more than willing. I got plenty to do. It's just the payment part that makes things difficult. It gets in the way of all my dreams.
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, not for Lou. And I just, it was funny when Tim's like, please burden her. She needs a purpose. Please bother. So then we have, like Edwin brings her flowers, and then that's when they go on their date to the archery, and she ends up winning. The underdog comes from behind archery. Of course, Amy wins. She's great at everything.
Yeah.
And so then she also sees Nathan, and she doesn't know who that is, but she sees him on the horse and everything. And it was quite a little like moment between them.
Yeah, it was definitely like a loaded moment of like, there's something.
Yeah. I know people hate love triangles, but I feel like that's what's coming.
Yeah, I feel like my prediction is going to be that we go forward with Amy and Nathan, and by the time Amy realizes that maybe it's Caleb might have moved on.
Oh my gosh.
It might be a little bit Like, that
Or
might be a little bit too predictable, but we'll see.
Yeah, or they could
just-
always have Caleb just getting increasingly jealous
hmm
of seeing her with Nathan.
I
And
feel
then,
like Caleb is gonna say something because he's very impulsive.
yeah,
Like, he's not one to sort of keep things to himself.
yeah. Yeah, that could be really good though. Like he's getting increasingly jealous and then things getting like hotter and hotter until finally he's like, you can't be with that. You can't be with him. He's not right for you. Like I would love that.
Yeah.
Because like the thing about the love triangle is just like the problem with on When Calls the Heart is that they gave Nathan so little to do. If they'd had one scene where Nathan and Elizabeth had kissed or like they'd gone on a date or something, like they hadn't even had a meal together. They had not dated like at all. So it wasn't like a fair back and forth between the two, you know, it was just like all these longing looks. And so you're just like, oh my gosh. And I mean, but like with like a real love triangle, there's like a back and forth, you know, you really feel like, okay, who's she gonna pick? Like what's, you know, this is exciting and so they could do it and it would be good. I mean, I love both of these actors. I love Spencer and I love Carrie. So I'm either way we win.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
So.
We don't know Nathan all that well, but like as of right now, I'm Team Caleb, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to be at this point.
Hard not to root for him.
But I just know how good of an actor Spencer is. And so we're in for a treat. He's really good. And so I'm excited about it. And he was a bronc rider. That's kind of hot. I mean, I guess Caleb is too. So both of them. So
it's another thing for them to compete over.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Logan is thinking about buying this fancy jacket for Miley.
Mm-hmm.
And Katie's kind of like, oh, you shouldn't have to buy her affection and all this stuff. But he does. He buys it and he gives it to her and he says, I love you. And she agrees, which was just really fast, I thought, especially for this show.
Yeah. And again, it feels very disconnected from the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Obviously, the thing with him working with horses is the thing that ties it in, but it just feels very disconnected, and I'm hoping that it doesn't last all season, that they have a way to sort of bring it all together, because it feels different when it's him and Amy working together than sort of having them have their own storylines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's all happening so fast too. Like if they'd had a couple episodes where we've gotten to know Miley a little bit, become kind of invested in her and their relationship, then that might make a difference. But then Amy tells Edwin she's, you know, just friends, and then we get the scene between Nathan and Jack and Tim, and they basically say like, you're using our ravine to get to the creek, the stream, and if you give us a break on this land, then you know we won't have any problem with that. We'll share the ravine, but you know he's like, I guess this guy, the prices we're going to pay double what they were paying Sam. Yeah. And so they're like, why don't you give us a year and we'll grant you access? So that seems to be a good compromise for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So like, Lou. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It just feels like it's the beginning of something major for whatever this sort of business venture of. I'm hoping that it's not that it doesn't get in the way of Nathan and Amy. Like I feel like I really want that to be a separate thing and not be about Jack and Tim's business. We'll
Well, and
see,
I hope they don't
hopefully.
spend that much time on it because it's like I like having Jack and Tim working together. I like that dynamic, but like I could care less about like the business of
Beefing.
it. Who cares?
Yeah,
It's
same.
just a means to like cause some conflict and have some, which I'm fine with, but please don't spend too much time on it. Yeah. So then Lou is able to get the permits, but as part of the thing, they have to use this specific architect, part of the permit. And so Jess is like, what? I don't want to use my architect. I don't want to use yours. And so Lou is like, oh, okay, kind of surprised and everything. And then, and so there's sort of this back and forth, and then Lou apologizes and says she does want to partner with Jess so that they're starting this new venture together, which could be fun to watch play out. So and then Katie rides the dirt bike. And my dad is like a big dirt bike racer. Like he loves it so much. He even just competed in a race up in Idaho this last weekend, and he got first place in one of his races. So
Amazing.
Yeah, way to go, Dad. So he would be all about this. He would love that. But it seems like if there's like basically a course on Heartland Ranch, like you would think, because they show like that, it's basically a dirt bike course there. And you'd think that this would not be the first time that you've had a horse on bike conflict.
Yeah.
But
you would think.
Yeah. And then it ends the episode with Miley getting thrown from the horse, and they're calling an ambulance and everything like that. So yeah, so I would give this one, I think I would give this one like a 7.5. I think it's worse than the previous episode.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, I'll go with 8 as well. I'm excited about the potential of where the sort of love triangle could go. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like a perfectly fun episode of Heartland. I just think with the whole Remy thing that made the episode 2 a little more special.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. That is these episodes. Let us know what you think and what you think of kind of where the season is going. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter, and what you think of the season as a whole. And Michelle, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Michelle R. Benson.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, the Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And make sure to check out our Heartland playlist with all of our content with Heartland, including the Chris Potter interview that we just did. So we'd love for you to check that out. And also, if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, which is a ton of fun, and our merch store. We have some Heartland inspired merch, so check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.